It's March time. March the 9th I recorded this. Soon we'll be planting seeds for our transplants. But first I'll give you a little update on what happened there over the winter. Welcome back to Ecocentric, and I hope you enjoy. Isn't this wonderful? Bays are going nice and getting really big. Now I had one that was drying out. You see this? So I can really actually show you a lot of things with this now, because okay, it's starting to flower because it's stressed. It also has aphids on it. Okay? Look at the rest of them. This one here, the soil is a little bit dry. It has a couple of little aphids on it. And you go all over the rest of them. Not one aphid. Sitting right beside that one that has a lot of aphids on it. Just the point I'm trying to make is that if you get bugs on your plants, check, is the plant stressed? An healthy plant will have a lot less bug pressure than a stressed plant. It may look fine, but if bugs are really attacking it, it's stressed somehow. We had one bout of a really bad wind chill. The temperature was only down like -13, but it felt like -30, you know, sucking heat out of everything. And then we had the Arctic blast come through, so I was having trouble. At night time the temperature would go down here, and in the daytime when I got the temperature up, the humidity would drop down a few times and went down to like 1% humidity here. And so these plants, they had quit flowering, but now they're coming back, starting to flower good. Now, again, now the temperature outside is going up and the humidity is starting to go back up here. But during that time, I was having to water these every second day. And that's why you see this crinkling on the leaves, is because it was very difficult to keep the soil moist during that time period. These are ripe, see? I can save these seeds. They wouldn't have crossed with the tomatoes. There's the rest of the tomatoes over here. The lettuce, they just got loaded in aphids. I think they were root bound. Now, you look at these, the cabbage, don't have an aphid problem, but they are starting to have a coloration problem. Now, I'll move this camera over here. So this is the first one that dropped its leaves down low. It might be that the leaves underneath are being shaded as well, but I'm kind of thinking it's more of a root bound thing. Roots are coming out the bottom really good now. So let's go here and let's see what the root system is like. You see? There's nutrients in there, but look at how much roots is there, right? So the plant is getting root bound now, and it's starting to struggle. The interesting thing I'm finding out here, though, I thought about it. Like a lot of things, everybody's situation is different, and they say if you're going to plant them for transplant, do it 8 to 10 weeks before you transplant them out, before last frost actually. Now, this one, see this one here, has growed right onto the wicking mat. This one started to show signs of color change at about 8 weeks. And this is about the size of a pot I put them in for growing out to transplant. So I can't start my transplants with my conditions. I can't start the seed any more than 8 weeks before I'm planning to plant them out in the garden. So that might be 10 weeks before the last frost. But probably I'll wait till 8 weeks before the last frost and plant them out at like 6 weeks old. So that's with my conditions. But now with somebody else's conditions, theirs may grow faster or slower, depending on the temperature and the soil type and etc, etc. But during the winter, we can do this while we're waiting for next spring to come. Have some grow lights and see what different varieties or different crops that we grow as transplants, see how they grow, and decide on when we're going to plant them according to our conditions. So that was a great experiment over this winter. So here's dry too. I think I'm going to have to remember when I'm doing these to put a piece of wicking material in through one hole and out through the other. Maybe in the hole that's up in the center there. So these holes here, then the thing would sit flat. It's got little ribs here, and the soil doesn't really come down. That's why it's being hard to keep it moist, see? So I need to remember, like I said, to put up a piece of wicking mat in through one hole and out through the other one to keep that soil moist. That's really why I think the peppers aren't doing that well, because they are not getting the right amount of water, I don't think. And we got a lot of gnats around. This is the third sheet I put up there. I'm going to start some asparagus. It says start indoors 8 to 10 weeks before last frost. And I'd rather have little plants plant out than put them in the soil and wait for them to come up that way anyway. I've got seed starting mix put in here. This is not the way I normally plant things, but asparagus are not that bad to prick out anyway. And the seeds are a fair size, so I'm going to put in a whole bunch. So you remember that bed where I have the 3 or 4, I think it's 4 asparagus plants there now. I want to redo that bed first thing come spring and sift it through, get all the weed roots and that out of it. I think I want to enlarge it to 3 feet across and then fill it right out with asparagus. I put 16 seeds in here. We shall see what will become of them. That's another 16 plants, 4, so that's another 4 rows. But I might plant them closer together. I'll put them all in. I'll have 6 feet by 3 feet or something to plant all of these plants in. And as I said, yeah, that was a good experiment for over the winter, and next year I'll be doing some more. I've enjoyed it. Hope it inspired you and something you can do during the winter. Thank you for watching.